Hey, what's up everyone? Just wanted to share a little update about my first month here in the Dominican Republic with Mission of Hope. It has been super cool, really fulfilling ministry, and it's just been really awesome overall. So before diving into what ministries looks like, I just wanted to give y'all a little briefing about what the culture looks like, because that'll help for a lot of our ministry to make more sense, because from the American perspective, a lot of it seems really strange. So there's two groups of people that live in here. There's the Dominicans who are from the Dominican Republic, and there's the Haitians who are from Haiti, which is right next door. It's like a giant island. Haiti's right there, Dominicans right there. Currently, Haiti is going crazy. They're in election season. They've been going downhill for a number of years now. So lots of Haitians move over to the Dominican for a better life, a second chance, more opportunities, more jobs, different things like that. The Dominicans and the Haitians don't really like each other a whole lot. They sort of get along, but not entirely. It's kind of hard to explain unless you're actually there, but it's just like there's this mutual tension between them that happens. They are a very warming culture, both of them. They love inviting you into their home. They love cooking for you. They love teaching you things. They love talking to you. And it's honestly, when we've been doing things, we are more blessing them by just entering their home from a person that's from the outside, entering their space, than even sharing the word of God with them. We've been working with translators here because there are two different languages they speak. There's Spanish from the Dominicans, and there's Creole, which is like sort of like watered down French that the Haitians speak. So our translator speaks 4 different languages. They speak French, English, Creole, and Spanish. Because as we learned in a second, in Haitian schools, they teach in Creole, but they teach you French, which is really confusing to me, at least, because I don't know either of the languages and they sound very similar, so I don't even know when they're talking in either one. But yeah, here's a little rundown of our ministry. So Sunday mornings we start off by going to church with one of our local pastors. We've been working with 2 different local pastors, Pastor Robinson and Pastor Joe, and we alternate days during the week of which one of their churches we go, which one of their communities that we go to. So we go to church at Pastor Robinson's almost every Sunday because it's bigger and then can get all 25 of us in there. And then that night we go to youth group at Pastor Robinson's church. It's an opportunity for us to just worship with them, to celebrate with them, to have fun with them, to spread the love of the Father to them, and just pour in our biblical wisdom and things like that into their lives. I've had the opportunity to play worship music with them, which has been really cool. And it's cool to see that even in every culture that you go to, music is the common language, and that I can get up there on the drum set and I can play music with them, and they can play the piano and sing and whatever, and it's just like common, and I have no idea what they're singing. They have no idea how to talk to me in English, but we play together and it comes together and we're both worshiping with the Lord, and it's honestly super cool. So Mondays and Wednesdays we're at Pastor Job's community, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays we're at Pastor Robinson's community. So on Mondays our day is split in half. In the morning, me and my team, we go out and we do house visits with a translator. So what this looks like is we go into the community, we find people, we ask them if we can come in and have a conversation with them and just get to know them. And so we sit down and we just kind of try to get the conversation started by getting to know them, depending on how open they are to people coming into their home, because oftentimes it's intimidating when 5 or 6 men walk into your home that are from another country. So sometimes it takes a little bit for them to warm up, but eventually it's a conversation flowing, and then through that we like to share the gospel, ask them if they go to church. Oftentimes we have the pastor with us, he's just outside, so we ask him to come in and share about his church, or if they have spiritual questions about God, that he can come in and answer in their native language, and we don't even have to touch translation because he knows the culture, he knows the language, and so it's a lot easier for him to tell them what they need to hear than it is for us. It's been really cool to do those house visits. It was really strange at first just walking into random people's homes. That's something in America you don't see very often, but overseas it's really common. And it's a really big honor for us to be in their homes, and they feel really blessed by us wanting to come in and offering to come into their homes and be a part of their space and their community. And also on top of that, it's been really cool and really different to share the gospel here than it was in Romania, because 1, we don't know the language. In Romania we could speak English to those people. 2, they're all very open to the gospel. So in Haiti, when we're in like a Haitian community, Creole is very rarely a written language. It is written down, but unless you've gotten a good education, you can't read it. So oftentimes these people that we go in, sometimes they know the Lord, sometimes they don't know the Lord. But if they do know the Lord, oftentimes they have never even read a Bible. They've heard stories from pastors who've had good education that have told them the stories, but oftentimes they haven't even read the Bible. There's very few of them that I've met that have read the Bible. And so we get to orally tell them verses, orally tell them stories like you would see in like the olden days, like in biblical times. That was normally how they would pass around stories, which is word of mouth. And so we get to do that here, which has been really, really awesome to pour that into their lives. And oftentimes they just have never heard who Jesus is. They've heard the name, they've heard about God. Sometimes they believe in God but don't know who Jesus is. Sometimes they believe in Jesus but don't know who God is. Things like that. And so we get to walk in and we get to share and give them what they need to hear in order to know God better and in order to know who He is. And so that's just been really, really cool, because a lot of them have practiced voodoo in their past or have different things like that, because they believe that in order to get rid of the consequences of voodoo, that you have to practice voodoo to get rid of it. And a lot of them have this pre-notion in their head that because of their time spent in voodoo / witchcraft practices, that they cannot have a relationship with the Lord. But what we can pour in and tell them is that they are redeemed, they are loved, and that the Father is welcoming them with open arms, ready to embrace them back into His kingdom. And so that's just been really cool to be a part of. It's been really cool to share the gospel to these people orally, and just to see how open they are to it, because if they don't know, they're like, yeah, tell me more. So we were in this one community a couple of days ago actually, and we walked up and we were just kind of talking to them, getting their names, and this other guy walks out and he's like, why are you guys here? And so we told him, we're just trying to get the community, we're trying to share the love of the Lord that we know. And he's like, that's honestly an answer to prayer. He's like, I know who God is, I believe in Him, I know that He's the light of the world, I know that everyone who doesn't have His word is dead in their sin. And he's like, but I don't know anything, and I want to know who Jesus is, and I want to know verses, and I want to know more. And so he goes into his house, he pulls out a notebook, and we're just talking to him, we're telling him about Jesus, we're sharing the gospel with him, we're sharing our favorite verses, encouraging him in his walk, letting him know that he has the option to do it. And he's just writing down, taking notes, bringing it all in. And he's telling us how he's been really wanting someone to come in and share the gospel, but no one in his community has it. And so we had the opportunity to encourage and challenge him to bring the gospel that he now knows to his community. And so just one simple conversation that the Lord had lined up is going to lead to a whole community of change. And that's just really, really cool. So on Mondays, the second half of the day, we go to a Haitian school, and we participate in their class. They're speaking Creole, teaching French. We have no idea what they're saying, but we just act like goofballs and help them to pay attention more. And then we get to teach English to them. So usually this looks like reading a Bible story, reading a book, just teaching them words like colors or letters or greetings, and then playing some games with them, hanging out with them, being obnoxious, because we're working with 3rd through 5th graders, and although they seem like they're cool, they want to be all cool kid, when we're being obnoxious, they really love it, and it's fun. And so that's been really cool to make relationships with the kids and just can be able to pour in the Lord's love into them, even though I don't necessarily speak enough of the language to be able to share the gospel, because most of them speak Spanish because they're living in a Spanish-speaking country. So their teachers are teaching in Creole, but they're teaching French in Creole. They're learning Spanish because they live in a Spanish-speaking country, and then we're teaching them English. So these kids are really, really smart. So I've gotten the opportunity to speak to some of them in Spanish, get to know them, get to know their heart, their family, and they're just really, really kind and inviting kids, and it's been super awesome. So Tuesday, all day, we do house visits. This is because we were going to an adult school in the afternoon, but the teacher there needed some more time with the students, so we just do house visits all day in Pastor Robinson's community, which is in a different part of Santiago. Wednesday looks exactly the same as Monday. I got house visits in the morning, teaching English in the afternoon. Normally it's a different lesson for English. It kind of just depends on the week. And then Thursday, we're in Pastor Robinson's community. Again, we do house visits in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we go to this school called Moenga Institute, which is a word in Swahili, I believe, that the teacher, he speaks Spanish, he speaks Creole, he speaks French, he speaks English, all fluently, and he's learning Swahili. And so he named his institute after that. He was one of the translators at Mission of Hope before, and now he's an English teacher for adults. So we're primarily there just to go in and help with pronunciation, because when you are trying to learn a language in a country that you don't live in, that country that doesn't speak that language, it's hard to get the pronunciation. down, and you'll never be able to speak it as good as someone who's from that country. And so we get to help them with their pronunciation. We just get to talk with the students, hang out with them, get to know the teacher and empower him and encourage him as well, because he is a believer, and so he gets to spread the love of the Lord through that and be a missionary in his own way. And so that's just been really, really cool. We've had the opportunity to learn Creole through that too, because they're teaching him some English words, and he's like, here's the Creole word for it. And it's this whole interaction. So the students are teaching us Creole, we're teaching them English, they're helping us with our pronunciation, we're helping them with their pronunciation. And it's just really cool experience, and it's a really cool way to just open them up to the love of the Lord without directly speaking it to them, because oftentimes they don't know enough English for us to be able to share it with them, and we don't know enough Creole or enough Spanish to be able to share it with them. So it's just cool just to be and exist with them in that environment. And then Friday and Saturday are our rest days, so oftentimes we'll go to the beach and just relax. The other day we went and saw some monkeys, and they crawled all over us. I'll put a picture down below of that if you really want to see it. And so it's just really awesome. So that's really what a normal week looks like. It's been really, really fulfilling ministry. It's been really awesome. And yeah, just one more quick story before I give y'all some prayer requests. One of the first days that we went out and did house visits, we found this one guy, and he was already a believer, and so we got to know him, we talked to him, we hung out with him, we were just in his space. We just sat down with him and talked, and we got to share verses of encouragement to him, hear about his life, hear about his struggles. He got to share verses of encouragement to us. We exchanged worship songs. We played him some worship songs, he played some of his songs for us. We got to dance with him and do some moves that we learned at youth group, some different like Haitian dances and stuff like that, and just really talk to him. It was just a really awesome way to just express the love of the Lord to him and encourage him in his faith. And it was honestly just a blessing to him, because as he was walking away to go to work, he said, thank you guys for coming, and don't forget about me and come back. And so it was just super cool to see how much he appreciated that. And so yeah, we're here for like about another month before we go to Nicaragua. My parents are coming this next week actually to do ministry with me, to hang out with me. They'll get a little taste into what my life has looked like in the Dominican Republic, and a little taste into what the last 6 months of my life as a missionary have looked like. And just some few prayer requests. This phase of the race historically is where people start going home, where it gets really hard. The best way I found to describe it is kind of like you're in a tunnel, and you're at the very middle of the tunnel, so it's dark, you can't see anything, it feels claustrophobic, you don't know where to go, you don't know how much space you have to move around, different things like that. And so people often get really, really discouraged. And so we've had a few people leave already. We had one of my teammates leave, and so that's been a little bit hard on my team. We've been working through that, and another one of my squad mates has left too. And so this phase of the race is really hard for people. Normally they're missing home, life is hard, the living overseas on very few items of clothing on $5 a day really gets to some people, and some people choose to go home, or they feel like the Lord is calling them home, like their season here is finished. And so just prayers for spiritual strength for my team and our squad as we continue to go through this leg of the race. And then two, just again, continual wisdom for the team leading that I need in order to lead well. Our ministry is very hands-off from the hosts here, and so a lot of the responsibility falls onto me and the other team leaders. So just wisdom for me and for us through that. One for illness too. Lots of people have been getting sick. It is very hot here, so people are getting dehydrated because we were just in the snow in Romania. And we're outside all day, we're walking around, we're going into villages, we're going to other things, going up and down, doing lots of physical activities. So we're honestly physically exhausted at the end of every day. And so just prayers for physical strength, and to just illness, because it's a tropical place, so it rains and then it doesn't rain, and it rains and it doesn't rain, it rains and it doesn't rain, and it's humid. Those of you that are from Texas like me, we're used to it. I haven't gotten sick from the heat. I've gotten sick from other things like salmonella and stuff like that, because that's a common theme. Take 2 of salmonella was 2 weeks ago. That was lots of fun. But yeah, lots of people are getting sick, and it's COVID-like symptoms, and so our protocol is that they have to quarantine and out of ministry. So just prayers for that can be really, really good, and just prayers over our hearts as we, oh, sorry, that's awkward. As we prepare, I'll just hold it, prepare to go to Nicaragua and do more ministry there. Yeah, thank you all for the encouragement. Thank you for the texts. Thank you for supporting me financially and spiritually through this journey. I'm very, very thankful. You guys are awesome. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.